Welcome back to Dylan with Sid Meier's Colonization, where we continue the colonization of the Americas as the French. The trains that we need, we no longer need it wasting its time. That fisherman will be sent probably to Salmon Run. Alright, last episode I spent a lot of time thinking about whether or not I should leave the fishing villages up and running, and what I did in response to that was some testing to figure out how the king's forces work. So I'm going to swap over to a spreadsheet here that basically has all the information that we need to determine what we should do. Basically, looking at the spreadsheet, we have the strengths of the units in the game. This is a veteran bonus for the veterans. Continentals don't get a veteran bonus, but that does not mean that Continentals are worse than veterans. They are better than veterans, but not an enormous amount better in many cases. Anyway, this section right here in yellow is the section that details attacking a settlement. These strengths are determined based upon having revolutionary support in the settlement, so you get a bonus when you attack a settlement that you control that has revolutionary support for you based on the percent that support you. And the Tories get a percent bonus based on how much support they have in the settlement as well. So if they attack you and you have a 14% Tory support in that settlement, they will get a 14% bonus to their attack. And this is the odds of winning against an artillery in a settlement. This is the odds against a REF cavalry in a settlement. This is with the foreign bombardment bonus, which you get if you get foreign intervention, where you produce enough Liberty Bells that a foreign power agrees to help you. They give you a 50% bombard bonus, just like the REF gets. So the REF gets a 50% bombard bonus, as well as the plus 50% attack bonus when they attack a settlement, which gives them this strength when attacking a settlement that has no Tory support specifically. If they have any Tory support, this number gets multiplied by 1 point whatever the percent support is for them. Right here you have the strength of units in the open. This is against cavalry, against regulars, which are the basic soldier unit of the REF. This is in a forest, these are in hills, and this is a mountain. Looking at these percents, you'll actually come to realize that attacking a 100% revolutionary support settlement down here with no stockade is as good as ambushing on hills. Doing it with foreign bombardment support is as good as attacking mountains, assuming the enemy doesn't have time to fortify. So you could lose a settlement, and then you could take the settlement back before they have a chance to fortify, and it's basically as good as ambushing a king's force on a hill, which is actually very nice. I also figured out that you have 3% better odds for Continental cavalry, at least, of attacking the REF on an open field than standing behind a fortress. The fortress stats are right down here, so you have the strength of your units inside a fortress, and you have the probability of you winning versus an artillery attacking you, versus a cavalry attacking you, and versus a regular attacking you. As you can see, you have about a 50-50 shot of winning if you're behind a fortress, which is the highest defensive structure in the game, and it's not very good. You're basically better off always attacking, even in the open, surprisingly enough, and that's without an ambush bonus. You also have the bonus of, if you're the attacker, you can re-equip damaged units with muskets and or horses. You don't get an ambush bonus if you attack from inside a settlement, attacking a tile directly next to a settlement. There is no ambush bonus, but if the terrain of the REF is in open tile, meaning there's no forest, no hills, nothing next to a settlement, you might as well attack from inside the settlement, out of the settlement, because you won't get an ambush bonus anyway. As a result, if you attack, you can just re-equip your damaged units with muskets and or horses on the same turn if you attack an open field from inside a settlement. That's if you need to do that. I don't recommend it. It's much better to attack at least a forest, if not hills or mountains. There's also a swamp tile that is a 75% bonus and not a 50% bonus, which is obviously better than a forest, but not quite as good as the hills. Now, I don't know the exact odds, but I'd expect to lose anywhere between 2 to 4 times versus a drop on open terrain. The REF drops 4 regulars, 1 cavalry, and 1 artillery per drop, meaning that you need to attack 8 times in one turn to wipe the drop out. If your attack against forested terrain, you might lose 1 to 3 sets of forces. If you attack a hill, you might lose about 25% of the time, and if you attack a mountain, you might lose about 25% of the time, roughly 20% of the time, because most of the king's forces are going to be regulars and artillery. Artillery are awful in the open. Regulars are okay. Cavalry are the strongest, and when you defeat a cavalry, it gets demoted to a regular. When you defeat a regular, it completely disappears. So you have to fight 4 regulars. You have to fight a cavalry that becomes a regular, then kill the regular, and then you have to kill the artillery, and then you have to kill the damaged artillery, which is 8 kills. I've also figured out that the RAF basically obsessively focuses down one city at a time, and they won't move on from that one city until they take that one city. That's assuming that you don't do anything to where the RAF is going to drop in the future. Once a drop drops, they keep attacking the city that they're assigned to attack, and they don't give up. You can attack them while they're pounding their head against the walls repeatedly. This is really the only use for artillery. The only use for artillery is to hold the city against the RAF until you can slaughter them outside of the city. Other than that, artillery is not very useful unless you decide to take the plan of giving them a city and then taking it back from them. Drops also spawn the turn you declare independence on an ocean square of a coastal city that you own. They don't actually sail out from Europe. You can't intercept them except on the way back. So they don't spawn on the tile that you spawned on and then sail to you like they do in the remake. I think that's how they work. I'm pretty sure that's how they work. They actually just spawn right next to your city, offload the same turn, and then the man-o-war turns around and runs away. If you can sink the man-o-wars on the way back to Europe, you can reduce the number of drops that they can do. They seem to only do 1 drop per turn, no matter what. They might do more drops, I'm not sure exactly, but as far as I can tell, they only do 1 drop per turn. Now, how does the RAF decide where to drop? What I figured out is that it seems to be based on population with a preference for less well-defended colonies. As a result, you can pick the RAF landing site by having a high population colony with the least or no defenders, lure them to a mountain, and then slaughter them, which is what we're actually going to do here pretty soon. Because of this, you can actually leave very small colonies like sub 5 people with no defenders, and the RAF will still prefer to hit the large settlements instead. I'm not 100% sure about that, because I don't have small settlements with evolutionary support during the testing I did, so that might be a factor, I'm not sure. But all your colonies start off under your control, they're not immediately Tory colonies, so I don't think that's a factor. I think it's all about population and defenders. I also determined that if all colonies have equal population and especially equal defenders, the RAF will choose a colony that is towards the top left. I suspect the programmers of colonization did a linear search from left to right, top to bottom, to determine which colony to hit. Every drop goes through the logic of choosing the highest pop, least defended colony. So, if you move more troops into a colony to defend it against RAF forces, after say wiping out a stack to re-equip them, they'll pick somewhere else to drop they consider easier to crack with good population. So, a good strategy in this case to win the Independence War is to put 2 artilleries in the colonies that you don't want the RAF to attack, put 1 artillery in the colony that you do want them to attack, make sure that the colony that you want them to attack has high population in relative terms to the other colonies that you have, and you want that one colony to have ideally 1 ocean square, or all ocean squares of the colony can touch a mountain tile. And then what you can do is you can place troops on the tiles that you don't want them to drop onto, and they will always drop onto the tile that is unoccupied, as long as the ocean square that they spawn in has access to that unoccupied tile. Otherwise, they'll drop troops onto your unit and just wipe it out immediately. I spent quite a few hours figuring this all out by watching other YouTube videos and trying to figure out what was happening, exactly how all the bonuses worked. And then I also looked at a thread on Civ Fanatics, which I'm going to show you right here. This is written by Brut, who only did 9 messages, and he wrote this back in 2004, like almost 20 years ago, on civfanatics.com. The URL is up here at the top, and this goes through how the combat in the game actually works. He actually looked at basically the code and the numbers for all the calculations, and this is where I determined that the rifle bonus exists if a unit does not have rifles. And he basically figured all this out. He also doesn't quite explain how the random number generator is messed up, but depending on the version of the game, the random number generator does have problems. A good strategy guide for colonization is also the strategy wiki guide. It doesn't tell you everything you need to do. The 30 veteran dragoons plus 20 artillery is a pretty decent recommendation. However, I think that you can get away with almost no artillery whatsoever. You just need enough soldiers or dragoons to determine where you want the RAF to land. But the 100% support is fairly important, because when you declare independence, your units will be upgraded to Continentals, your veterans will be upgraded to Continentals. And that's based upon the percent revolutionary support in the colony. So if you have 100% revolutionary support in the colony, 100% of your veterans will be upgraded to Continentals, and they'll be better than regular veterans. Now I am going to make like a small video for everybody else that doesn't have the time to go through the whole playthrough to reach this point, so that I can finally have something that people can come to and see, oh, how do I win this war? Because I didn't really get a very good explanation from any of the places that I went to. So that one video will be everything all put together, so anybody in the future can come along. But for this video, we're going to win the War of Independence. I'm not sure if it's going to be this episode or next episode, but it's going to be very, very soon. Because I'm pretty sure I can beat the REF with less than half of their forces. If we look at the REF right now, they have 69 regulars, 25 dragoons, 26 artilleries. Their artilleries are basically a non-issue for me. Their cavalry, are the biggest problem, and the regulars are fairly straightforward. With a Continental cavalry, I can kill a regular about 80% of the time on a mountain. I can kill a cavalry about, I think it was 76 to 71% of the time. I think it was 76% of the time. Let's actually check. Yep, on a mountain, I can kill cavalry 76% of the time. It's this blue highlighted field right over here on the right hand side. It might be kind of hard to read on a screen that's not 4K, but hopefully all of y'all can make this out. I'll probably zoom in for y'all or something. Now, because the REF consists of 94 capable fighters in the form of regulars and cavalry, I should be able to win with half of that, at least, which is 47. Now, I'm pretty sure I can actually beat that with less than that. So I think I can pull it off with 30 dragoons. I don't think I need any more artillery, because we're not going to actually get attacked. We're just going to kill the REF when they land every turn. I don't even need more Liberty Bells, because I don't need any more of the Founding Fathers. I have all the Founding Fathers I want. If I continue to produce Liberty Bells, that will simply increase the size of the REF. I could produce Liberty Bells to get the foreign interference help, but I don't need foreign help. I can do it just fine with the army that I have on hand, I'm pretty sure. So if I look at all of my troops right now, I've got 20 soldiers if I counted properly, including dragoons and soldiers. Most of those are veterans. All of those that are veterans will get upgraded to Continentals. I think that I can win with what I've got on hand. I'm just going to need some more horses for the few losses that I'm going to take. Those horses I can store in Lumberton, and what I can do is have some wagon trains with extra horses and ships that have horses as well. And with our setup right now in the colonies right here, thinking about how I said the RAF would prefer high population with low defenders. Let's see here. Safe Harbor has a damaged artillery and a regular artillery. Proxima has 2 regular artillery. Ironhold has 1 artillery, and Gunny has 1 artillery. Thinking about that, take a moment to decide which one they might choose. So you look at the population and then you kind of subtract the number of defenders, but the number of defenders seems to be multiplied by some value that I couldn't determine. What ends up happening is that the REF chooses not Safe Harbor because it has 2 defenders, not Proxima because it has 2 defenders. It chooses between Gunny and Ironhold. The other colonies are very, very light in population, so there's a strong preference for Gunny and Ironhold. Both of them have 1 defender, but Gunny has 17 population. So the RAF will always land in this ocean square, and they'll get off on these 2 mountain tiles. If there are any foreign colony units on the mountain tiles, they just get rid of those units, and they'll spread their forces across both mountain tiles. I can force them to land on 1 mountain tile by having a soldier or dragoon just standing on this tile, and they'll always land on this tile right here. As a result, I can pound this tile, this mountain, repeatedly and kill them every single turn they land. I haven't actually done it yet, but I know I can do it. And you get to win 8 times to wipe out 1 stack, and only 1 stack drops if you have just 1 or 2 defenders in a colony. So that means that I need about 10 dragoons to hit them every single turn, because I'm going to lose some dragoons, and they're going to get demoted down to soldiers. That means I need to have some more dragoons in reserve to hit the stack on the next turn, plus the dragoons I had earlier that didn't lose. Anybody that loses has to go back to Lumberton. They're a soldier at that point. They can only move 3 tiles on a road. So your reinforcement square, your headquarters where you resupply your troops, needs to be within 3 tiles. They resupply, they lose their turn because they resupplied, and then they can come back on the next turn. So I'm pretty sure that I can pull this off with 20 dragoons, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some more muskets, and I'm going to get some more horses. Actually, I think we have enough muskets on hand right now. I have enough muskets almost to supply 5 more dragoons, which should probably do it, plus the additional muskets that I'll continue to build in Gunny. As long as I can maintain the shipping line between Gunny and Orville, will be good. I also need to maintain the defensive line here and here to ensure that the Europeans don't screw around in my lands and block my logistics. Although for the most part, my logistics is redundant enough in terms of roads that we can travel along that we should be okay. They are, however, annoying. There is also a chance that the Iroquois are going to declare war on us for the duration of the War of Independence. It seems to be completely random. I'm not sure if there's anything affecting that besides the level of alarm that they have and how angry they are. I could leave the fishing villages where they are, but I think what I'm really going to do is I'm going to dissolve the fishing villages. There's no point having them at this point because I'm going to win the War of Independence very soon. I'm going to dissolve them, retrain their people to be veterans using my current army inside a college or university, which will take 6 turns. During that time, I'll make a couple more muskets, well, quite a few more muskets actually, sell some of those muskets, not all of them, and sell the manufactured goods I make. And then what I'll do is I will not buy any more population from Europe. I will only buy horses. Once I bought horses, I'm good at that point. I don't need to build fortresses. Honestly, I don't even really need artillery. I'm going to build a couple more artillery just to put 3 artillery in Proxima, 3 in Safe Harbor, and 3 in Ironhold, but that's kind of because I don't have anything else to do with my tools at this point. We're ready to go. Like, I could probably pull it off right now, but I'm going to take a couple more turns, and then we're going to hit the ignition switch. Yeah, we don't need anybody else in Hank Hill. We don't even need Hank Hill. We don't need Sushi City. We don't need a fortress in Proxima. We're going to switch that over to an artillery. Might as well. There's not much else to put the tools towards. We don't really need hammers anymore. We don't need a fortress in Ironhold. Let's build artillery instead. Salmon Run will be dissolved. We do not need Salmon Run. I don't need any of the goods or lumber that's in these cities. I don't need any more lumber anymore. Realistically, I don't actually need tools anymore. I do want to make sure that I can get this mountain tile occupied right here, so that when the RS spawns right there, they'll only attack this square. I don't even need a dragoon right here. I think I can do it with an unarmed soldier, but I'm going to have enough army that it doesn't matter. I'm just going to fortify this guy here, and he'll never actually fight. Lake Erie, I'm going to leave right there. It does supply lumber in Lake Farmville. I'm not going to worry about these cities that much anymore. We're just going to focus on a bunch of horses. We're also going to probably pull back from Orville after I destroy this village. Oh yes, we do need to stop producing Liberty Bells more than the bare minimum as well. There's no longer a point in having a bunch of elder statesmen. I have slight concerns that there are issues where you lose Liberty Bells over time, but I don't know for sure if that's true or not. But I do want to stop making the area bigger, so we're going to stand down our statesmen. And we in fact have so many colonists that there's not even a point moving around the food that we have anymore. In fact, I'm going to abandon Farmville as well. We don't need Farmville. The whole point of getting more food was to generate more colonists, but we're going to win probably pretty easily. There's no sense risking defenders in Farmville as well. We're spreading out. All ships will be sent back to France simply to buy horses. All pioneers will lose their specialty, and they will instead be trained as veterans. And we're going to go ahead and burn Ellis Village. Kind of need to, just to get it over with. They require a little close for comfort, so we'll take care of them, or lose. Come on, take care of them. There we go. We got 600 gold from the treasure. That'll give us a little bit more money, but honestly we don't actually need that much money. Any available non-veteran dragoons will get the opportunity to kill Indians that are in the area to get hardened to veteran. All other veteran dragoons that, now that we wiped out that Indian village, will return not to Gunny, but will instead be going to Proxima most likely. They'll also be spreading out. Actually, it doesn't matter if they go to Gunny, but we'll take them to Gunny as well. We actually need them to begin training our soldiers. So Gunny has 2 slots. Gunny gets 2 veterans. The universities will be filled with veteran soldiers as well. Elder statesmen, we no longer need them to be elder statesmen. They will lose their specialty. We'll leave 1 elder statesman in each of the primary colonies, just in case there is some kind of loss of Liberty Bells over time. The first veteran that's going to get trained used to be an elder statesman. We're going to assign the veteran to the university, put the free colonist somewhere in the town that literally does not matter. It doesn't matter where they go. They don't need to make anything, truly. I could even assign them just to the textile mill. That'll work pretty well. Let's put them in the cigar factory. We're going to be wasting some production, but that is okay. We're going to build a warehouse expansion in Safe Harbor instead of a artillery, just to get more storage space for horses. I highly doubt we're going to need that many horses, though. I expect to lose about 25% of the time versus about maybe 120 people, which means that we should expect to lose about 24 times, which is about 1,200 horses. That's our expected loss. We'll also generate horses during the war as well. First ship in Europe is going to buy nothing but horses. We don't need anything else anymore. We'll have a crap ton of muskets to arm everyone that we need. Pretty sure. In fact, we're going to dedicate some people to the armory in Ironhold. So we'll put the colonists over there to make guns instead. I'm going to do kind of the same thing for every other colony as well. I'm going to assign all the colonists that are getting trained to simply produce muskets. We actually don't need anything else. We don't need artillery. We don't need anything else. We can buy artillery once we get all the hammers built for a pretty steep price, but we should have plenty of money just kicking around. Alright, we've got 2 veterans training in Gunny, 3 training in Ironhold, 3 training in Proxima, and 3 training in Safe Harbor, which means that we will have another round of 11 veterans in 6 turns. There's no longer a point to anybody else, actually. We'll have enough muskets, enough horses, enough money, enough everything we need in 6 turns. After those 6 turns, we arm everybody up, we get them ready, we make sure that Gunny appears to be fairly undefended, the other colonies appear to be more defended, and we let the RUF come. So that is 7 turns away. In fact, we don't even need carpenters anymore, so I'm going to stand down all of our carpenters. We do not need them. They're going to lose their specialty, and instead I'm going to use them as basically storage. And because we don't need carpenters, we don't need lumber, and because we don't need lumber, we don't need lumberjacks either. So all lumberjacks will lose specialty, they'll become free colonists, and they will devote themselves to the war effort. We're going to go from having about 20 soldiers of some form to probably having upwards of 40, maybe, in about 6 turns, which is about 3 years. In 3 years, we're going to go complete total war effort. Anybody not holding a musket or storing something is going to be a farmer. The more food we have, the faster our horses will grow. They require making another go of it at Orville. They're probably going to lose. And they did indeed. There are some more though. We're going to hit them with our non-veteran dragoons to level them up. Anybody that comes to us that is an Indian or a obvious kill, we'll take that shot. Anybody else, we won't bother with them. They're too far away. So we'll take a shot. We have 50-50 odds of beating these mounted warriors. And we lost. But we got plenty more where that came from. There we go. And we got another veteran. Very nice indeed. The Dutch are up to 29. They only need 11 more to get independence. We should beat them in time. We got Ferdinand Magellan, but it really doesn't matter at this point. No big deal at all. And we got our first set of soldiers rolling it. The Dutch are up to 30. So they're getting almost 1 colonist every single turn. But we're probably going to declare independence in 1 or 2 turns. I'm not sure exactly which. So it's 1658, the Dutch are up to 31 out of 40 that are needed to declare independence. That would only be like 30% of the population, but whatever. This is going to be the turn that we declare independent. Alright, it is spring 1659. We have everything set up. We have exactly 1 artillery in Gunny. We have a crap ton of people in Ironhold. We have a crap ton of people in Proxima, 3 artilleries to be specific, 2 artilleries in Ironhold plus the other defenders, and then we have 1 artillery and 2 damaged artillery in Safe Harbor. In total, our empire currently possesses 8 artillery, 3 damaged artillery, 8 non-veteran soldiers, 1 non-veteran dragoon, 18 free colonists ready to pick up a musket, 33 veteran dragoons, and we produce 45 horses per turn. That goes up and down a little bit, as well as 117 muskets every turn. So basically we can arm a dragoon and a soldier every single turn. What we're going to fight is going to be, we're fighting 73 regulars, 25 cavalry, 26 artillery. If you include all of our non-veterans, we have 42 military members. to stand up against 98 effective fighters. This strategy relies entirely upon the fact that we have a ton of defenders in our 3 primary colonies. The small colonies that we used to have would not be attacked anyway, but I decided to pull them down and concentrate them into our main colonies to eventually become soldiers. And Gunny is apparently almost undefended. So, here we go. The moment I've been building up to for like 20 years, I'm finally going to declare independence from the mainland. Let's do it. Shall we declare independence from France, Your Excellency? It'll end our turn and place us at war with our king, and the REF will spawn immediately. Yes, give me liberty, or give me death. Signed, Dylan. Here we go. So the Continental Congress signs a Declaration of Independence. Abuses and usurpation cited. Ultimatum presented to king. Expeditionary force dispatched to suppress rebellion. General Dillon calls for volunteers for new Continental Army. All of our veterans are currently inside of our cities that have 100% revolutionary support, so they have a 100% chance of becoming Continentals. Our flag is now the flag of the United States, which is a little bit United States centric, but hey, I guess we did fight the American Revolutionary War. Looking back, it wasn't that big of a conflict. We did kind of have help in the form of Spain and France, just saying. But let's do it. And there they are. They spawn at Gunny, and they're going to unload on this mountaintop right there. And in total, they unloaded 4 regulars, 1 artillery, and 1 cavalry. Of course, the Iroquois nation hold a war council. They joined the War of Independence on the Tory side. The Tories agreed to provide muskets and horses for the Iroquois. Not too concerned about them. We have 2 artilleries dug into Orville. They shouldn't have any problems. If we have any problems at all, we can dispatch some forces to defend Orville, but Orville at this point is no longer necessary, truly. So this is just informing us that the king's armies have little experience in our lands, so that means that if neither unit is in a colony square, we gain the ambush bonus, which we're going to make extensive use of. And we can get foreign intervention if we generate 8,000 Liberty Bells. We have no intention of generating 8,000 Liberty Bells. We don't need it. We're going to win without it. And now there's a whole bunch of Continentals that are mobilizing. And now begins the Great War, which is going to be a pain in my ass to move everybody into position. First Continental, we're about to take our shot. We'll be up against the cavalry. They have no defensive bonuses. We have 50% attack bonus and 150% ambush bonus. This means that we have an effective strength of 18.75 versus their 6. If we divide 18.75 by 18.75 plus 6, we result in a combat analysis of 75% chance of success. Let's do it. We routed them down to regulars. Very good. So yeah, this is how it's going to go for the rest of the Independence War. I'm probably not going to show you every single fight, but I am going to document our losses, and I'll let you know how it goes. It should be a stomp. Absolutely. We got them. Just like that. We're going to win about 75% of our battles. 75 to 80. Actually, close to 80%. Of course, we have to be very careful to not move any more defenders into Gunny, and to always ensure that our defenders are stronger in Ironhold, Proxima, and Safe Harbor. That's why I have more artillery here. I will not move the artilleries. I will only move actual troops. Holy crap, I actually had so many veterans in some of my colonies that they didn't all get upgraded to Continentals. Apparently you get like a maximum of 7 Continentals per city, it seems. Which is fine, we have a crap ton of troops. Alright, we dealt with the first drop and we sustained not a single loss. In fact, we have so much strength that I can provide more defenders to Orville to take care of the native problem, which we just took care of. Our privateer is just gonna screw around. There's really no point in having it anymore. We've actually sustained our first loss against the second drop. We of course have plenty of horses waiting in Lumberton for that soldier to pull back and rearm back up to a Continental Cavalry. Of course he can't do it on this turn, he has to do it next turn. That's why we have plenty more soldiers ready to go in. I just lost 2 assaults in a row, so it's possible that the random number generator was having some issues. So I went and did something else for a little while, came back, a couple of minutes, and hopefully it'll be fine now, because the random number generator uses the clock time as basically a seed. So let's see if it works out. And we got them. Their artillery is super easy to take care of. Holy crap, we actually lost versus a damaged artillery. Amazing. A damaged artillery is a good chance to get a Continental Cavalry, so we're going to use one of the veterans that are not Continentals against it. And we got it. At this point, I have completely stopped moving around my goods, and I'm ignoring my manufactured goods network entirely. Our only focus is muskets and horses. We have plenty of population, so I'm not caring to move the food around either. Basically, my only goal is to fight and win as fast as possible now. money is basically useless to us. We could use it to buy artilleries, but I'm not using artillery, so it doesn't matter. The Iroquois decided to kill my scout out by England. It doesn't matter. They can have him. I don't care. Our fort at Gunny is actually opening fire on the Tory man-o'-wars. Kind of an issue. If we sink the man-o'-wars completely, the game might bug out and we might not be able to win. They're kind of hanging around Gunny instead of going back to Europe. Some of them are going back to Europe, I think, but a lot of them are just chilling here. Yeah, so now I'm not only using the damaged artillery to train my veterans, I'm also using the regular artillery to train my veterans so that they can reach continental status. That'll increase our strength even more. Alright, it's now spring 1668. We're going to wipe out this stack on the mountain here again. Then we're going to probably finish off the game on the next turn. Been a long fight so far, man. We've actually been attacked by the Iroquois quite a lot up here in the north. I accidentally moved the Dragoon way over here, but he should be alright. The go-to being the press and hold the left mouse button is not very fun. It's very easy to accidentally order a unit to go to somewhere far away, and you can't stop them, as far as I can tell. So far we've lost 5 times against the Iroquois. We've actually lost artillery entirely, which forced me to move artillery north. I've got a ton of soldiers all over the place. We'll talk about everything once we get at the end. And we got a cotton planter that actually learned his trade, and a tobacco planter that also actually learned his trade. So I managed to get them myself instead of getting them from the natives. I've almost completely exhausted my entire horse supply as well. But I think we're going to be a-okay, and we won't have to make use of any, well, there's another loss. We won't have to make use of any regular soldiers, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, screw it, we'll go ahead and use some soldiers that we have left over on these artillery here. We should be alright. Although we did lose a veteran Dragoon too on artillery. We've actually lost quite a few times, even to damaged artillery, strangely enough. Oh well, they actually chose to land near Proxima this time. That's weird. They went hardcore in the cavalry too. I must have accidentally had another person in Gunny. Every other drop they've done has been by Gunny. And we've actually sunk 2 man-o'-wars using the forts, which is really surprising. This is going to be the 4th set of mercenaries that we're going to reject. Taking these dudes down will just be a matter of about a 50-50 shot, unfortunately. We routed the first ones. There's only 1 regular left, which is behind all these cavalry. There's going to be a bit of a fight. Yeah, we're bleeding hard on this battle, but it's the same as being behind a fortress, but we only have a fort in Proxima, so it's going to be better just to hit them on the open ground. We are losing like crazy, man. This is genuinely the RAF's final push. I really don't know what changed their mind as to where to land. They have no more regulars after this one, so once all the regulars are gone, they surrender. We just need to crack this final nut. Unfortunately, none of my soldiers up here can reach in time. Alright, we finally reduced them from cavalry down to regulars. Let's see if this finishes it off. I think once we finish the actual regular that is left behind, we will be winning the fight, and the war will be over. But it looks like they're going to get a chance to actually attack Proxima. This will be the one and only attack that they've had against me the whole time. Maybe they had some kind of final logic for the very last attack, or maybe it's because Gunny is at 14 and Proxima's at 15, but we have a bunch of defenders and 2 cannons as well. All these little dots here are soldiers. Like, there's no way they win. We're gonna win. 100%. In fact, let's just give this guy even more guns. If I wanted to, I could just throw all these soldiers at the enemy. And I'm basically out of horses at this point. Ah, there's 1 more set of cavalry right there to attack with. Very nice. Come on, come on. Alright, that's 1 more regular down. It's been a long fight, man. I've been doing this for like, what, 8 years now? Which is like 16 turns of constant warfare. It was pretty easy in the mountains, but we bled quite a bit so far. I'll tell you the final numbers once everything's over. Yeah, that's it. So now they are going to get a chance to attack us, but that's not going to matter. They're landing even more forces right there, shit. The regulars will throw their heads against us. Hopefully we'll take them all down. So they have... Our artillery is functioning at 12.5 strength. They're attacking at 11.25, so we have about a 50% chance of winning this fight. And we were damaged. They're going to keep attacking us. We got more artillery. Let's see if we win. We got them. Very good. They're going to attack us again. Let's see if we got them. Got them. We got that artillery damaged. And it looks like we have to fight through even more freaking cavalry. They actually managed to get all of their people onto our lands, it looks like. There's only some cannons left to offload. Got them down to regulars. There's no cavalry left. But we are continuing to lose about half the time just because they're in an open field. And they're very effective at fighting in an open field. Privateer's been going on a little exploration mission around the north, and apparently there is actually ice in this game. which I never knew about. And there's a whole other little island right over here. Or maybe that's not an island, but it's an extension of the land. We might find out, we might not. The Inca live over here. Looks like I'm finally out of regular old cavalry, so I had to rely upon my continental regulars. Let's do it. We have pretty decent odds, and we lost. There we go. We got them down to just the cannons, so it should be a piece of cake to take down everything else. Usually. I have lost quite a few times to cannons. I've actually exhausted all the stack that I have directly next to the cannon, so now I'd be forced to attack at 2/3 strength, but which should be okay against the damaged artillery in the open. Let's see. Nope. Man, cutting down that forest right there was a mistake. Don't chop down the coastal forests. That is a big mistake in this game. If it's a coastal forest near your coastal colony, don't do it. There we go. I think that might be the RAF done. They only have 4 more cannons that they can land, and we can take care of that easy peasy. Let's be in position to defend Gunny if need be. I'm so low on dragoons that I'm kind of worried about potentially actually losing a city. Well, Gunny would be the only one that could be in danger. Everything else has a ridiculous number of soldiers. Nope, 1 more landing. Surprised they haven't surrendered yet. I read that they're supposed to surrender once the final regular is dead. Hey, we actually sunk our 3rd man-of-war using a fortress. Very nice. Yeah, we have to take the fight to them. Let's do it. Should still have some cavalry somewhere around here somewhere. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not. I'm not sure. They only landed, looks like 1 artillery. I don't know what's up with that. I guess they're just going to land piecemeal from now on until we completely wipe them out. Now, for some reason, the RAF want to only land at Gunny. I don't know what changed their logic at all. They're not landing at Proxima ever. I have so many troops, it takes forever to actually tell them what to not have any orders. Yeah, there's a whole other continent, like, down here in the south. I've been restricted to that little peninsula, but there's a bunch of land down here. I think the map generator actually did a really good job this time. That should be it. That should be no more. There's just man-of-war stuff. Maybe I have to get English intervention in order to win? I don't think so. There we go. After 20 years of wanting to do this, I've finally done it. Royal Expeditionary Force annihilated. General Dillon accepts surrender of all Tory forces in brief ceremony. Parliament declares king unfit to rule and votes to accept the independence of Dillandia. Continental Congress proclaims Dillon the first president of the new republic. There we go. I've never seen him upset like this. That's interesting. In our wisdom, we have decided to let you go your own way. We have far more important matters to deal with than you, wretched colonists. Do not seek our aid in the future, for it will not be forthcoming. Okay. And there we go. Alright, this is our colonization score. Viceroy Dillon of the French. We won autumn 1671. That was like 11 years of warfare. We had 372 French citizens. You see that we have a lot of free colonists because we grew a lot of people and we stripped a lot of specialties and a boatload of soldiers. I lost 25 points in burned villages. I got a decent amount of points for gold. I got an early revolution score that gave me some more points, and my total score was 1,578. Didn't get all the founding fathers, didn't need all of them. And my colonization rating was 78%. They gave my name to Washington State. But yeah, so I lost 58 times against the RAF. Let's see how many I had to fight in order to win. I believe in 1660 I had already wiped out 1 stack, and this is the earliest save that I still have. Hold on, I'll go back. I'm gonna have to go back and just check my previous video, aren't I? Yes, so it looks like I had to fight 69 regulars, 25 cav, 26 artillery, and I had to kill every single one of them. 69 regulars die after 1 attack, cav die after 2, and the artillery die after 2. That means I fought a minimum of 171 battles, but I lost 58 times, which means that I fought a total of 229 battles. That means that I won about 75% of the time. That was all because of that mountain. Notice how at the ending there, when I started fighting against an open field, I lost about half the time actually. So it's very, very important that you don't cut down forests that are along the coast, or that you select a city site that you can kind of encourage the RAF to land at, such as a mountain like I did. But yeah, thanks so much for finishing the whole series. I had a lot of fun playing it, and it took me quite a while to play it. The UI in this game is kind of hard and clunky to work with, that is for sure, but it's been a lot of fun. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you've learned how to do really well at playing Colonization, and hopefully if you decide to play yourself, you learn from my mistakes. My next series is probably going to be either a RimWorld series and or the remake of Colonization, I'm not sure which. I'd like to do both, but we'll see what happens. If you like this series, leaving a like would help other people to get a chance to see it as well. If you'd like to see more, you can always subscribe, because I'll be doing more series for years and years from now. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next series, whether that's RimWorld, the remake of Colonization, or whatever else I come up with. Have a great day.